Stream. That thing awesome. I should have been doing this.
They wrote me off and I ain't like that, so I'ma fight that. The bad man, right when you thought that it was safe to relax, you gotta scratch that. The bad man, deals with me for real.
This is the Big LAC Show. This your boy Big LAC, and we have Mr. Jermaine S.N.A.P. Thurston in the building. Hey, do me a favor, Snap. Start from the beginning.
Man, started 1976, January 21st. I originally was born in Boston, raised in New York, Poughkeepsie, New York, like 45 minutes outside of the boroughs, upstate. Man, it was the 80s when a lot of things was going on. Drugs were just being introduced into the streets. Everybody wanted to be either an athlete, a doctor, or some things like that. I want to be a musician. I want to be a DJ. I think music, if anybody knows me, my basement floor room was just filled with write-on posters, magazine, word ups. Posters was everywhere. I had Brooklyn over here, Bronx over here, all the ladies on the wall, on the ceiling. I just wanted to be a DJ, man. I think I had a JVC radio with about 20 speakers hooked up to it. I find speakers, you just hook it up. That was just, music just infatuated me, man. That's a dream. So I think after that, it was just going to block parties and just hearing the message really turned my life around, because I think what he was rapping about, Grandmaster Flash, was what really was going on inside of our neighborhood. So it felt like, you know, he was talking about us. And whenever we cleaned up on the Saturdays, man, you know, music was always being played. So I was always infatuated with hip hop. And just being in that city, just seeing everybody just dancing, dressing up, just want to be fly. So that's the beginning of what I want, you know, what I want to be and what I wanted to become. Further on, then started playing basketball and just going to each neighborhoods, just trying to work my crafts. You know, as we growing up, kids nowadays, you know, our parks was filled with kids trying to be the next Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, because that was what was seen on TV. So, of course, you know, you want to play 21, 26, and we played in New York. In order for you to get picked, you know, you got to win that 26 game and be a captain. So be a captain, you know, you gotta win. Until you're good enough where you walk in the park, you ain't got to play 26. You know you're going to get picked. So we're just working on your craft of being an athlete. And at that time, I think sports took me out of the limelight of rapping, of hip hop. You know, you should break dance on the corners. But it seemed like basketball was just something else. Sports just took me to a whole nother level. And at that time, we was growing up, played for a guy named Kariga. I think we was the East Side Trailblazers. Gave me my first opportunity of playing in the summer league, which is similar to the Ruckers that we have in we call it Power Kingdom Poughkeepsie. And I remember one day and one move like changed my life. I think we was grabbing a rebound. I was playing against one of these good teams we call the Bandits. Grabbed the rebound. My man threw it up to me. I seen the center coming, and I just did a 360 layup. I don't know where it came from, but everybody to this day say it's one of the top 3 moves ever did inside the park. Man, the crowd just came out crazy, and I think that's when I first got my attention on what I want to do. I wanted to play ball. And that team that I did the 360 on, that coach, which is Coach Jeff, ended up recruiting me. We end up playing for his team. We end up going, man, like 32-0. Like no team really could beat us once we got there. And he was like, man, you're a beast. You're like one of the greatest athletes. At that time, I grew up in a single home. So my dad died. My mom was 8 months. So I never met my father. So growing up in a city in New York, the single parent at that time. You know, my mom had me when she was 21, so she's young. At that time, we don't look at age of our parents. But as we get older, we start to think, man, my mom she was young, but played a grown woman's situation because she had a child, so her responsibilities didn't change. But after playing ball, it just took me to a whole other level. This guy, Jeff, was just like my father mentor. He taught me on how to understand the fundamentals of basketball. And that's when, at that time, I still was in the streets. My mom told me come home at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night before the street lights hit. As any little promiscuous little 13-year-old, you know, I'll fall asleep, act like I'm asleep, sneak out. Then I'm outside in the hood, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, messing with the guys who love what I was doing, you know, bet on me when it come to basketball games and see me in the street, see my cousins and all them out there, like, you know, trying to be grown when I wasn't grown. So just infatuated with the cars. Like I said, that's when hip hop came back, and you know, everybody playing their cars with the loud systems. So during the day, I wanted to be a basketball player, but at night, I wanted to be they say, gangster, a hoodlum, a drug dealer. I want to be, you know, be the midst of everything. I want my name to be mentioned, everything, and you know, that's where it started in New York. After that, got into some, you know, trouble. Think what changed my life. I was always around. My mother always had me going around. Didn't want me in the inner city school, so she always had me go to the outskirts school, which is Hyde Park, and I would say Wappingers Falls and stuff like that, Arlington, where I got diverse and I was always around white peoples, around Indians and stuff. So in the inner city, it was nothing but us black guys, African Americans, we might as well say, and always got close with other ethnics. So it was always cool with, you know, white people, Indians and stuff like that. And of course, with my basketball talent, they also recognize it because their best basketball player, you know, was Caucasian or white, whatever you want to say. And I always want to see who's the best, and I want to challenge them and let them know that I'm here. You know, I come to take over the throne. I come to take the spot. But as I come, you know, going to the outskirts and came back into the city, you know, I'll get around with my cousins and my boys, and we'll practice on our game, and we'll go around to other parks and try to dominate and try to get my name around there, because that was coming up. But like I said, at the midst of night, started rolling with some guys. We started stealing bikes, you know. In the hood, you know, we used to Huffies and you know, Montgomery Ward bikes, you know, the cheap bikes. So when I started going to the white areas, you know, they got mongooses and GTs. So that's like driving a Toyota in the hood, but the people up there they got the Lexus. So it's more like, so, you know, I used to get my boys. We used to go to the white areas and, you know, snatch bikes and take parts off and build my hutch or my BMX into a mongoose GT, all types of stuff. You know how we do, hook cars up. We was hooking bikes up. One day, you know, I got caught. Somebody told, I got in trouble. Then my mother told me that, you know, you're moving to, you know, North Carolina because I don't want you to get in any trouble. So at the age of 13, I moved to Clinton, North Carolina. And that's when that's when S.N.A.P was born. Oh man, it changed my life. I went from the city, from bricks, buildings, projects, until a cotton field, tobacco field, dirt roads, pig hog trucks and stuff like that, man. And man, it changed my life. It slowed me down. Only time I really got to play basketball was basically during school, because the next door neighbors, 10 miles, 15 miles down the road, we had to travel 30, 40 minutes just to go to the city, just to go to a decent store. Back then it was Kmart's, Rose's. We had to go an hour to go to a mall. I wasn't used to that. Then, you know, I went to school, and my talent basketball was good there. And then one day just changed my life. My coach asked me, "Hey, you ever played football?" I said, "Nah, I played two-hand touch, played in the parks and things like that." And it's like, "Well, next year I want you to, you know, play football." And that's when Eddie Bass changed my life. I think the first game I ever played, I was too busy, you know, watching TV. First game, I had 2 interceptions. One was for 101 yards, and one was for 50. Scored on one, the 101 yard. I'm spiking the ball and all this stuff. He said, "Son, you can't do that. That's called a flag." "What's a flag?" "I don't know. I'm just playing. You're teaching me something." During that year, we went on. We beat 13-1. We won the JV championship. And that year, the championship, I had 393 yards, 16 carries, and 6 touchdowns. That earned me a spot in Sports Illustrated. That was my first year ever playing football, and all of a sudden I'm in one of the prestigious magazines ever, which is Sports Illustrated. I think I had over 26 touchdowns. I had over 1,500 yards. I only had that in 6 games. At that time, I didn't know my talent was good. I was still focused on basketball. By the time basketball came, I think I was averaging 24 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists a game in middle school. And then he just said, "Son, you're gonna be something if you stay focused." And then like I said, we went on to championship. High school came, and it just seemed like everything just went on up from there. Everywhere I went, people was just amazed on me just being a Sports Illustrated, giving me signatures and stuff. I didn't know how I felt. I didn't feel like I was a superstar. I was just so humble about it. All I want to do is go out there and just be the best. I think what really recognized me was one game we played against a team called North Dublin. And I read an article that the coach said they beat us. It was called, matter of fact, it was the Lakewood Leopards. They won a state championship that year. But that coach was highly remarkable up there. He was highly respected. And when the coach wrote in the newspaper, we did a good job of holding Jermaine Thurston down to 100 yards. It said something. And the coach had to break it down to me. He said, "Do you know what that means?" I said, "No." He said the average good game for a high school player is 100 yards. So if he did a good job for just holding you to 100 yards, imagine what you are, what you can be. And it really just stuck there. He really, some of the coaches and the men in my life really broke things down to me and really made me understand. We know a lot of things out here, but it's better when you understand things, because then you know how to prepare yourself when you're going out there running for it. And since then, I was recruited by Florida State, UNC, Chapel Hill, West Virginia, all those schools, but that demon always was behind me, because all the guys who came to see me play, and same thing happened in New York, happened in North Carolina. All the drug dealers come see me, and I'm 13, 14, 15 years old, and I'm going to juke joints, which, clubs, and I'm hanging with them and they got money and girls and messing with older women and stuff like that. So that got back into my life, and it just started a function where I wanted to be a athlete during the day, but I wanted to be a drug dealer and stuff, or a gangster, as they label it. At that time, it just took a toll. 1995, graduation day. My girlfriend at the time told me when I graduated, on graduation night at my party, I'm pregnant. My mom was there, be her first child to graduate. And she told her about it. And she told me, she said, "One thing I can't stand is a man who does not raise your children. So if you raise your child, then I'm happy for you." And that's when my life alternate changed. Because now I don't know if I want to go to school, because I would listen to my mother, who basically raised me all these years and times trying to raise a man in this world of drugs. Oh man, but so many things was going on in life back then. But she raised a good man, especially get me out of the inner city into the country. The country just slowed me down. And it just backed on from there, where I came this athlete. Now I became this street guy, which is a statistic that a lot of us fall under. And I don't think nowadays we don't want to be a part of that. I think we was cool with it is because the intention and the attention that you get from everybody, and the love you think you get from somebody, until you get locked up. And when you get locked up, you really find out who's there for you and who's not there for you, who really loves you and who really cares. Now you become isolated from everybody in the world, and you tend to be by yourself a lot when you get locked up and doing time. And me being away from my family, it's my first time I was ever away from my family and not getting loved, especially when I was getting love everywhere I went, everywhere I go. People knew me, people know of me. It's because of what the sports did for me, and my family was highly known around North Carolina and in New York. But just being that statistic where, okay, he's that child that had it and could have lost it. Didn't want to be that statistic But at that time, you wasn't thinking, wasn't nobody guiding me in the right directions. It seemed like when we're on top and doing things, people don't want to tell you when you're doing wrong until the wrong comes. Once the wrong comes, now everybody wants to say you coulda, you shoulda, you did, but didn't want to stop you there in the moment in the heat. That really put a damper on me because now I become something that everybody I seen or heard, I have become that. So it just took me that I didn't want to be a father who's in and out of jail and in and out of prison all the time, and nobody's there to take care of my children. And at that time, I was just getting back out there to society and trying to be something. You know, when you're trying to be something, they take it from you. Because one thing you don't want to do is get locked up, and then you coming out, and you starting back over. But basically, that's a statistic, and that's what you're going to do. Yes, it's going to be hard because you're doing time, and it feels like you did time. You get out, you start over. But starting over in jail is more like, hey, guess what? I have to recoup, I have to rechange, but you're going to have to start back from the bottom. And I think with our society, they want us to do that. And especially as an athlete and coming up, these are things that you'll fall under. And that's when S.N.A.P tried to disappear from the world. I didn't want nobody knowing my name was S.N.A.P. It just became out of there. So once I got out, I moved to Atlanta. And I moved to Atlanta, I just tried to forget everything that I did in my past and just try to move forward. And it's just been a journey since then. You know, I fell, I got back up. I fell again, got back up. But I never stopped being of who I am and what I know that I could bring into this world. You know, we all grow up, we always want to be something. And I just want to be something that everybody respected, or somebody, man, I remember him, but I'm still here. So you don't have to remember, I'm still want to climb up and get to the top. So that's where we at now.
So when you write S.N.A.P, you put dots in between it. So let the people know what it means.
You know, each name, you know, means something. You know, people put your names, but S.N.A.P means self-knowledge, always power. Growing up in New York during the 80s, you know, we had a lot of Muslims. I had a lot of Muslim friends, and you always want to be down with something. So my brother and his friends, you know, had a name, said, yo, I'm going to call you S.N.A.P. So I always say, what S.N.A.P means? Self-knowledge, always power. And I like that. So I just rolled with that, and I just got that from my Muslim friends, and that name just always carried me. I mean, when I went to North Carolina to schools, teachers called me S.N.A.P. If you go to North Carolina, people say Jermaine Thurston. They say S.N.A.P. People know who S.N.A.P is. So that just stands for, you know, self-knowledge always has power. And
that's what's up.
When I speak, people do listen. It's because I speak knowledge, so the name just fits me.
When I met you, you was doing the radio show thing. What led to that?
What led to that, man, was I want to say rest in peace and sleep in peace to my man, Tony Faison. Me and Tony Faison's brother played high school ball together. And he was one of the first guys I met when I moved to North Carolina. And once I got up out of my troubled ways, I moved to Atlanta. I heard that, you know, he's down there, he's doing radio. So I knew a lot of guys, especially from where I'm from, New York, North Carolina, who rap and stuff. So they'll come into the city, and I'll take them and, you know, interview them with Tony. And then at the end of that, Tony will come in there and say, yo, S.N.A.P, and throw me under the bus and, you know, come talk about S.N.A.P and the things that was coming on. And when I speak, he was, man, you should do a radio show. You should do something, man. You still got talent. You need to be heard. So I was like, I brushed it off at first and did that. And then I met up with these guys, 106.2 The Situation, and met this guy named Rick Furry. He was coming down here. I do promote out here in Atlanta in clubs. So I met him, his DJ looking for a spot. So we were just talking. He's the second person said, yo, you should do a radio station. You need to be heard. Now, this guy never knew me. So, you know, you hear things once, you believe it. You hear things twice. Third time is already in motion. So I just came up with it. And the first person I called when came up with a concept with the S.N.A.P Judgment Show, first thing I did was call Tony. You know, Tony was, man, and the first thing he told me was, man, be yourself, because you have a story to tell. Your story still, it might be dead, but it's not over with. And that's where the podcast came on, to where self-knowledge always power. And I think I always go by the motto: we was raised right, but we were just taught wrong. Especially with society, where we're going wrong, where we're not taught the right things. We're taught the things that society want us to be, so we can be like in a mind state, a shell. So that's where that came about with the Snap Judgment Show.
I mean, I remember Tony, and I was hoping we weren't gonna talk about him too much. You're gonna have
Not
me
too
back
much,
here,
but
tears in my eyes, and I'm about to beat you up. When he first told, like, yeah, man, we got a new guy on AUMA, got the Snap Judgment Show. I said, Snap Judgment? I said, what does that even mean? And he said, self-knowledge, And I said, that's dope. And he was like, yeah, man, I want you to interview him. Man, I ain't interviewing nobody right now, man. I'm just do the music. Do he do music? He said, no, man, he ain't no rapper. I said, well, I ain't interviewing him. And he kept pushing it. And eventually, I ended up having you on the show, and I'm glad I did. Because I've never met anybody, and everybody out there that's listening and watching right now, y'all hear the baby. That's my daughter. She want to be on radio so bad, be on TV so bad. But I've met very few people that were as adamant about doing right in their community as you are. Yeah. Like I've rarely met a person that said, we're gonna do this and you do it. Like you were just mentioning a few minutes ago, around the time my daughter was born last year, you guys had a back to school drive.
Book back drive.
And Tony was like, I need you to make a flyer. I made the flyer. And I was like, when y'all doing this? He was like, we're doing it this day. We need you to get some supplies. Man, I ain't got no money. He said, LA, we need some supplies. So I brought some supplies up there, and I said, I'm thinking it's going to be in Atlanta. I'm so slow, I ain't even read the flyer that I made. And around the time my daughter was born, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I told my wife, I said, yeah, they're having the back to school drive thing. And she was like, babe, ain't that in North Carolina? I said, wait, what? I hit Tony. I said, the back to school? He said, yeah, man. We already up here. Like, oh, man, I missed it. And I missed it. But the videos I saw, the photos I saw, man, it touched my heart. You really, you didn't do what a lot of people do. They go get the cheap book bags, get the cheap notebooks, the 70-cent notebooks.
Correct.
Y'all really did it for them kids.
Yes.
Haircuts, had people out there speaking that was worth listening to.
Yes.
Like that really touched my heart, man. And that was some stuff that Tony told me that he wanted to continue. Doing. And
I think we did. We also did the hurricane relief when they had the hurricane thing. We went out there.
Yeah.
We had, a bunch of people gave us clothes and stuff. So me and Tony, like we always do, packed the van up, took it down there, and gave it to the community because we want them to know that we're from there, even though we're not there physically, mentally, we still there for you. So, hey, we Atlanta, we're a great city. So let's see the support I have, and let's go ahead and we drove up there. We had pig pickings. We had things we had it at a church, and I bought a pig, and we just that's what they like. And I got some sodas and stuff. My man Jerris McPhail came through, former running back for the Miami Dolphins, came through. And it was just nice just to see kids and people knowing us growing up and seeing that, I did something bad, but guess what? I'm still here for my community because basically your community is what made who I am. So sometimes you don't got to be rich or you ain't got to be famous just to give back a little bit. We spend money on dumb stuff, but some of these parents are out here with, single kids and with no help. And it's hard for them to get clothes and supplies. So, can't buy your kids clothes, but you know what? I'm gonna take one off. We're gonna give you some supplies.
Yeah.
We're gonna give you some clothes. We're gonna do some things. And people came through with shoes with tags on them and came through and the preacher said, it was one of the best things that ever happened in the city. He said, Snap, you're not even from here. So no, I ain't from here, but I lived here. And I know how it feels when it comes to hurricane reliefs and there's nobody there in the country to help. Yeah. So that just shows you, y'all made Snap, so Snap's coming back and do the best that he can. And me and Tony did it.
Man, y'all did, man. And hi, on to some happier stuff.
Yeah.
So right now you have a show right now, right?
Right now.
Well, what network is that on?
Snap Network is on IBNX Radio, so you can go to IBNXnetworkradio.com. We on each and every Sunday, except for 7 o'clock, except for today, Basically, like I said, was raised right, taught wrong. Basically, I interview entrepreneurs and anybody who's out here who's trying to uplift their community. People are now, television now is in phones and internet are now how kids are learning how to be men and women. So I think I want to put something on there that they can look after. Some people want to be a doctor but don't know the steps on how to be a doctor. Some people want to open up a beauty salon. Some people want to do this and that. They know, but they don't understand how to do it. So what I try to do is get people in our small black businesses to come on the show and teach the next person the steps on how to become whatever they want to do.
That's what's up, man. I caught a couple of the episodes, and you have some very interesting people on there. how do people get in touch with you, or do you reach out?
It's usually both ways. I'm like I said, dealing with the sports situation and me coming up, growing up. A lot of people ventured off to be mayors, lawyers, and stuff like that. And with my occupation that I'm doing now, they see me went from nothing to something. They love to be a part of it is because of what I'm doing. So they'll call, man, I love it, man. I love what you're doing. I love what you're saying. So if I call them up, got R&B singers and lawyers and mayors who come and actually wants to be on my show. And it's just something like, wow, he really knows people. And it just, I don't about knowing people to just get your word out there. You know, let's get this community out. You can be heard. You be being seen. Now let's be heard. So I just want to be the voice and just be that person to connect the dots for people.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, I don't have too many more questions. we normally do it 30 to 45 minutes. So if you got anything else you want to tell the people?
I just want y'all to be on the lookout. Snap Judgment, I am doing a documentary.
Whoa.
It's going to start with the end of this year. Well, I'm starting it now, so it should be out I would say beginning of 2022.
Who filming it?
Right now I'm having a couple people. I'm gonna have you do the Atlanta start, but the first 2 parts start like the beginning of this interview is gonna be in North Carolina and New York.
Okay.
Because a lot of people who follow Snap now, they're from home, so they see me come from this, and that. So the people in Atlanta, it's like I'm new to Atlanta but old to Atlanta. But when it comes to this podcast and come to the showcases I have, and when it comes to other networks, they think I'm out here just doing to be gassing. So the documentary is going to be explained where you be understood, where it's a purpose, why I do what I do and how I do what I do. It also is going to, feature Spotlight Channel is the one that's going to do it in New York. I got a VJ, his name Vanilla Boy out of California. He's a sports analyst. He's going to be the narrator. I'm also doing a soundtrack to it. So any artist who wants to be a part of it, get in contact with me, and it's gonna be a soundtrack. It's gonna be built. Like I said, I'm into music. I'm into everything. So what I want to do is, like you said, is get people who up and come artists to be Snap Judgment want to help you. Just connect the dots.
That's what's up, man.
So I want to, a lot of people do documentaries when they're dead, and somebody else is telling their story, or when they're rich and broke. And now they're coming back up. Now you want to see it. So I want people to understand my documentary as I rise. So you understand the story and see the story. So when it does happen to when I get to where I'm going, can't nobody you can't shade it. It's because the documentary is being told and being seen in front of you.
Man, that is dope.
I appreciate that.
Today I'm gonna shoot my own documentary.
I mean, it's I had to think about it. It was just something where, as you become of who you want to be in life, a lot of your friends and family, they support, but they don't follow you as you expect them to follow you. And it seems like I'm getting more people doing interviews and stuff like that who now follow me and understands me. I get more inboxes and more calls where, man, you're inspiration to me and all this stuff. But it's nobody who I grew up with or was around for a long period of time who understand and seen a change. It's more people hearing a change and knowing the change instead of people seeing you. I'd rather the people who see me change be the ones supporting, but sometimes they don't support you as they support you. Sometimes you start doubting yourself. And it's like, man, what's going on? Am I doing something wrong? So we got to tend to evaluate, and there's levels to each thing. So it just made me be in perspective. I just opened up a salon. Please be on the lookout for salons on the south side, Riverdale, Georgia, 7456, 138, Highway 85. Oh man, it's called the Ultimate Hair Braid and More. I got a salon. If anybody looking for employment, like I said, I'm giving employment. So a beauty salon I have, and it just opened up for children, for people who are tired of people coming to their house or they're going to other people's house. It's just things that I just want to open up and venture and just leave something out here. I'm a talented, multi-talented person, so I can do the same thing in business. We go to jobs and we see a lot of people who run jobs but don't know how to run the operation. Why can I do that? I don't know how to run hair. I don't know how to do hair, but I can run the business. So we just got to get up here and start thinking for ourselves. I mean, this year alone with the COVID has really sat me down and just really appreciate why people are in my life. And sometimes we have to think that ourselves. People in your world, you understand why they're in your life, but you don't really understand until they're gone on why that person is in your life. Yes. And I just want everybody to, we have to do this together. Stop looking on what people are expecting for you to do and stop looking for a way out. In order for you to be business minded, you have to grind. And once you get your own business and be by yourself, trust me, it is hard work. You're going to have friends and foes. You're going to have people who's disliking you, people who's going to like you. That's just a part of it. But your determination is going to take you to the next level. And you don't have to let society to give you a thumbs up, decide on what you want to be. I mean, I done went through it. I done went to jail. I done went to prison. I done had it all and lost it all. But I'm still out here trying to be something. And I don't care what the world thinks. So make sure the documentary is going to be called Good Guy, Bad Guy, Snap. So no matter how you look at the documentary, if you're judging me as a bad guy, you're going to look at it and you're going to see the good. If you look at me as a good guy, you're going to judge me and see the bad things I've been through. So be on the lookout for the documentary.
That's what's up, man.
Appreciate that.
And I want to let you know, you were here for my daughter's first steps.
I just seen that. You see how God works, man? See?
Bro,
I just seen that.
You saw me look
I seen that.
What the hell?
Seen that.
Oh my God, come here.
See, Snap seen that.
Oh, you ain't gonna come? You ain't gonna walk back this way? Forget you then.
That's what I'm talking about.
But yeah, man, give everybody your information.
You want to follow Snap, man, go on IG at Snap_Judgment LLC. If you look at me on Facebook, it's Jermaine Snap Thurston. Or if you're just in the city, man, I'm in the city. Just come around to the braid shop. Come around to just contact me and let's talk. I want to build. I want to build something that somebody else is not doing. And together we can. Together we will. You can reach me on all platforms, man. I love y'all, man.
Thank you so much for coming through, bro.
Man, thank you for having me, champ.
And I need to talk to you about this braid shop today. All right, man. We're going to go on and get out of here, man. Big LAC Show. Thank you again, Snap.
You already know what it is, man. Salute to everybody out there.
Groovy, man. Oh, let me hit the right thing to get out of here. Damn, boy, you doing it all.